Hi everyone, this is Daisy with another tutorial. This is for Drawing Fundamentals Level 2, which targets ages 9, 10, sometimes 11, depending. And our topic today is going to be an octopus. We are going to be doing this particular subject with pencil and ink to start with. And I'll see, time permitting, perhaps some background colors or not, but I had a concept that I wanted to bring in, but it's a lot of time. So maybe we'll start it and let you guys take it up. To start with is obviously and always it's going to be our drawing. Let me straighten up. There we go. That feels better. And we are going to be working on an octopus. So it's rising up to the surface. The head is the size of the head typically tends to be twice on the legs. So you want to use a third to the head and the rest to the legs. Let's start. So I'm going to draw with a pencil. You want to pull this in. One tentacle at a time. Starting with, this is going to be where the eye is put, so let's put that in. The eye is typically a lid on the bottom and a lid on the top, and then the eye. And the rest of it is the head mass, and I would like to increase that a little bit more. Something like this, and take off here. Okay, first tentacle, right down under here. You divide it into, the skin breaks into two parts. And going back from about a halfways. Again, I want to bring this in closer. Don't want to be so far out. So as my line went out, I should have been here for the arm coming in. I'm happier with that one. From the eye down to the skin, we're gonna connect up just like this. I'd like to drop off a little bit of skin right here. Once I've got my first arm in place and I'm happy, then it gives me more confidence to move ahead. So I'll take my time on this one. Next one, touches in contact with this. First arm has to connect here. Right there. Right there. Second arm. Third arm, carry over this curve, but the curl to the tip comes right over it. So let's make the curl first. Coming out as if it was going to go connect over there. There we go, and I'll take off this part. Maybe make it a little bit wider right about here, because this is the part that is the closest to us visually. So we want to have that one a little bit more prominently up. My fourth tentacle is going very close to the head, so it comes here. Arm. Next, coming in from under the head, I can't see it here, but this is where the skin dips over. Let it go past the paper. That's fine. If I don't like it being shortened, I should let it go. There's that one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here comes my number 6. From inside of here, it ends up right here. So there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7th is going, I want to increase this. This feels too squashed, so I'm going to fix that one. And then between these two, another tentacle is going downward past everything that we have. There you go. So that's going off the paper too. And the 8th is not visible right now at this point. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th is on the other side, invisible to us at this point. Now that we've drawn all of this, what I need you to do is lightly erase off. You can see my drawing, and I'm going to apply light pressure. I'm going to keep every single stroke, but lightly take off as much as I possibly can. So this is what's coming off now. If you can see it. And I'm going to re-ink the whole thing back up, but except this time I'm going to bring in its suction cups and everything. So the suction cups get drawn on first, and because they have to go over the boundary lines, I'm going to take my time on them. As you get to the tip of the tentacle, remember, don't be frivolous in the sense, what that means to say is, just because you're making them fast enough, don't start speeding up. It can get away from you very, very fast. I've always asked my students this question: if there was a battle between a shark and a octopus, who would win? And the answer to that is the octopus, because once it grasps you, you're not getting out of there. It's done. It's a done deal. Now, in the middle of each of these is a dot. Very clean dot, please. It matters. If you ever see like one of your suction cups, the end is a little bit open, fix it right now, because otherwise, after you've drawn every single one of them, promise you it's gonna get away from you. as you advance in age and you are growing stronger in your art skills, always make sure that you cover every corner. It's so easy to become complacent or and just assume that just because you did it that everything's superbly cool and everything. And I've seen children slip away on account of that, to where they don't realize it, but they themselves didn't put in what they should have typically put in, and now they have no one to blame but themselves. Don't leave open lines. That's very, very important. So take your time. Give every piece that you work so hard on to look and feel like it is most definitely your best work every single time. That's how you're going to grow, and that's how you're going to catch the attention of people. If you were striving to be placed into a really good art program at your school or something, they don't come easy. And there's a lot of takers for great art and positions like that. So if you feel that you deserve a spot on a prestigious course in your school, never be complacent. I understand academics and all the rest of it, and that you have so much going on. Every single child does nowadays, you know. It's so my job here, and I'm hoping what these videos will do is that they will give you the tools that you might need. Maybe a little bit of different approach on projects or other stuff, and how you can brainstorm into something different. There is so much to inspire from nowadays. Beautiful talent out there. Really, I kid you not. I have seen some tremendous portfolios from aspiring artists. You want to get yourself a non-bleeding pen. So it's not, if you don't have one right now, I mean, for right now, you can just start and get your work done. That's not a problem. Of course not. But as and when you're able to make time for picking up some good material, if you get an opportunity, I know it's really tough on everybody right now, see if you can pick up some material. So it's not too expensive. I will say that these pens you can get at Office Depot. They're called Monami, and they're really, really good. It's worth the $2 that you pay for them. It's not a bad investment at all. Not every tentacle needs the suction cup, so these two will not get it. But I'm going to put it on this guy, this one that's at the bottom here. So I'm going to then I have my first one that I made here, and this guy is got suction cups. So from remember, rewind the video as many times as you want. Get good grip on the project. Don't compromise. So now you've got a few tentacles with I got a bleed. I have a bleed now. And I had that area done long back, but still I got a bleed, so be careful. Okay, so we have got a straight line, and a curve for the eye. You have an upper lid, you have a lower lid, and then you have this eye right in here. There you go. And you have a siphon. The purpose of a siphon is to filter water out for the octopus, and it uses it for that purpose. So we have got our octopus is sort of done. What my plan was, just as I can explain this to you, is to put down a very light to dark shade. So I'm going to go for a cool gray, number 1. You will hardly see it, but it's still there. So I'm working on an illustration board today because I happen to have one handy. Whenever I plan to do a little bit more technique than I normally do, that time I like to pull out something that's just a little bit more sturdier so that I can work with it. Trace around your lines. Just I'm not going to be putting color inside my octopus, but I will put more texture spots at some point. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what I had planned for my background, because when I started this video, the conversation was that the octopus will be ink, pencil and ink. So I've only put like a really, really light, cool gray all around my octopus. And the reason I did that is because I plan to go in with some pointillism dots. That means the alcohol from this first layer will help my other dots move a lot better and faster. I'm not worried about crisscrossing my marker strokes because I'm going in with pointillism. So what I'm trying to tell you is at the top of this thing, I'm going to go in with light tones. So that would be, I'm going to do a slightly darker. And you'll notice if you can capture this on camera, is that the ink is expanding and blooming because the first layer of color that we put down is helping it bloom. So it gets the work done a little bit better and faster. So always think of something interesting and a new way of using the media that you have. Media nowadays, I think we're very lucky. From the time of the masters, I think there's a lot to be said about how much we have access to, and we should take advantage of that. But there are many ways of using every single media. It's not just one or the other. So when somebody makes you feel or tells you that this is a technique, please feel free to explore. I was teaching at a school, and this young girl, she always made it a point to use every media that I gave her in more than just the way that I was telling her. As an art teacher, I just watching a person and their process of handling a media is enough to remind me about or ensure me that the person handling this material is serious about what they're doing. It's not just that they're being frivolous. And this young girl is never being frivolous at all. If anything, she worked out nice, exciting new ways of creating and using the same exact tools that I gave everybody, but they all followed my cue. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I have to kind of teach and work with students all the time, so not saying that that was an issue, but I mean, there are very few kids that want to explore more than what there is. But don't do it at the cost of being picked on or being pushed out by a teacher that's uncomfortable with that. Every teacher has their boundaries, and every teacher has a certain way of teaching. So you have to respect that. So I covered the rest of this thing with one tone darker gray. Now I'm going to take a purple, and I'm going to start injecting the purple in. So I don't need to make as many dots now, but I'd like to inject it and create like a very interesting sort of a oceanscape maybe. God only knows what it's like living underwater. I mean, we get a lot of renderings. Don't know if you ever got a chance to watch the most recent Aquaman, but they address the part where the ocean is so deep and dark. How does a person see? Well, creatures from the depths have got some interesting eye vision strengths that allow them to see whatever there is in the dark. They don't feel lost at all. We might. So here we are. And you don't need to block color everything. Think about different ways and styles of doing all the things that you do. So I didn't start from the top. I came a little bit lower and worked with all of this. Now, moving into something a little bit more deeper, I'll get me a blue. Same story here. The reason you hear this marker tapping, making tapping sounds, is because it's got a hard tip, where my other one that I just used and put away was a soft brush tip. They both work equally well, but I was literally like just touching, touch, and we got such an amazing thing going there. This is working just fine as well. The dots are more controlled, they don't spread. But did you notice how on the brush tips, what's happening is that it blooms, the color blooms to where maybe you want it, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to have concise dots. If you want concise dots, your tip needs to be hard like this one. And that's all it is. And we might put in a little bit of our darker. Let's try it. Nothing to lose. From this corner, I think I will bring in a little bit of deeper colored dots right there. And again, all these background techniques are your choice. You can opt to leaving things just the way you see them, or you can opt to trying something new and different. So I've put in a little bit, not a lot, because I don't think you need a lot to kind of make this thing really pop out. And then now a dark purple. So what I'm shooting for is in this corner, I'm going to make it look a little bit deeper, just enough. There you go. That'll do it. And now for the work on the body that we talked about, texture. So I see a texture on the skull of the octopus, and it's just like strokes of lines. And keeping with the tradition of what I see, I'm going to literally make more strokes. And there's like an in and out kind of a wavy kind of a pattern. It's not a perfect, it's not all over. So you have to watch what you see. The places where I'm creating more lines is nothing more than the creases and the folds in the octopus's body. Now remember, when we talk about crosshatch, there are places in the body that are not as dark as the others. So darkest, medium, light. So my intensity reduces based on what I see. If you decide to go for cross hatching, remember the curve on the body. The octopus is got a very curved kind of a body, and you want to respect that, and your first line that you're going to crosshatch needs to be in conjunction with the curve. I'm making shorter lines because I don't want to go into the previous tentacle at all. So I want to control that, and if I make longer strokes, chances are that I will be going in. And there is our project on the octopus in ink and markers. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to our next project. We'll be having it out soon enough. Thank you for watching.